I was hanging out with my nephew recently. He's about 4 years old. And I asked him for advice. Being one who, as many of you know, is getting ready to be a dad, I asked him for advice. I was like, so, what advice do you have for me on being a new dad? What's something I could do with my baby? And he thinks and he goes, you could wrestle. I was like, okay, wrestle my baby.
And his name is John C.
Very good. What else? You could pretend to be gorillas with your baby. Just listing all the things him and his dad probably did this week. But gorillas, it was relevant to the one and only Ivan, which is why I mentioned that story. Hello everybody, welcome to Film Fireside. So I've been away from YouTube for a second, but I've been on TikTok reviewing some films there, so thank you. If you are one who has been showing me support via TikTok, I appreciate that. That was a fun little thing to do for a minute, and a lot of people have mentioned that they like those kind of shorter, just 1 minute reviews, so I'll maybe keep doing those. There's quite a few films, like I said, I missed. I started this in the middle of 2020. There's films I missed. So maybe I'll use TikTok as a platform to go back and visit some other films from this year that I missed and review them. And I'll make a little compilation and put them on YouTube. The one and only Ivan dropped on, I almost said Netflix. It's not a Netflix movie.
Boo!
The one and only Ivan dropped on Disney Plus this last weekend. I watched it because it came out, and it was a movie. One and only Ivan. I just feel so weird about this movie. I seriously, I want to talk about this movie and I just feel so empty, which is really how the film made me feel. There was this potential and you could tell they really wanted to make this so important. Cut to Ivan staring with his glossy eyes at the camera.
Wow.
But it just under-delivered in many aspects. It seemed cheap almost in its attempts to do that. What it seemed to me is that the creators of this film took this story, which is originally based on a book, and were just so confident in its animal rights message that they didn't really have to care about anything, just because we're making a movie about a gorilla who wants to be free, and that's all we need to do, and it'll be fine.
Good idea, sir.
We checked off the thing that's going to make everyone love this movie, you know? And if they hate the movie, then we'll call them bad animal rights people. They don't like animals. You must hate animals, you monster. You're right. Now, the reason I didn't like this movie is because I just love gorillas in cages. Cut to Ivan being happy.
Wow.
So all in all, just the writing of the film, everything just felt so basic and simple, which to a certain extent, I appreciate that. Cut to Ivan, the gorilla, staring into the camera.
Wow.
But they use the same tricks over and over again. Cut to Ivan, the gorilla, staring into the camera.
Wow.
Therefore, this film felt redundant. It felt mundane after a while. It's not that long of a movie. It's only an hour and a half, but it took me 2 sittings to get through. I had to, the last 30 minutes of the film, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna stop. Literally the third act of the film, when I should have been more engaged and invested, and at the point where I was like, ooh, what's going on? I was like, I'm gonna finish this later. Again, I really am just hung up on this idea that the creators were just so confident that the message of the story is good, because it is, that they didn't have to put in any other efforts into any parts of the actual filmmaking of the film. This is based on a true story, a very interesting true story about a real silverback gorilla named Ivan, who had a very similar situation to this gorilla and was able to be in a better environment due to protesting and a community coming together to make it happen. So fascinating, good, hope for humanity type of story, but really that aspect almost felt like an afterthought. And honestly, just where the flow of the movie went, the first bit of the movie started, and I didn't really know anything about the story of Ivan and his the real story of him. So the story started, and I was the plot was taking me in this direction of, he wants to come up with a new act and help save the circus because he loves his owner. Okay, the new act he's going to come up with, he draws. Oh, okay. Everyone's going to show up. They're going to love drawing. It's going to save the circus, and him and his owners they're going to move and have a happy place. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, you actually don't like living here, Ivan, remember? And he was like, oh yeah, I guess I don't like living here.
Wow.
The amount of effort and emotion behind Ivan recognizing he didn't want to be here anymore, like he didn't like being caged up, was none. They put no effort or no care, no even like characterization into that. I mean, Ivan's a not actual, like, this is an artistic representation of how Ivan the silverback gorilla felt, and I think the simplicity of it was maybe intended to just show the simplicity of animals, I guess. That's if I'm really trying to help these people out here, trying to give a little and help the creators out here, then I could be like, oh yeah, that's what they were going for. I can't honestly say that was successful or that I felt like that worked. After 30 minutes of the movie, by the way, it's like, oh yeah, I guess me and my friend Elephant here, who have loved living next door to each other and talking to each other and have become great friends, are all of a sudden like, we don't like cages. We've never liked this place. Wait a minute, I've actually always hated this place. That's weird. Now, granted, he can change his mind, but there was no characterization or development in the fact that he changes his mind. It's just all of a sudden he's like, oh, I hate this place now. And I want to get out of here. And his attempt of getting out of here is for the next little bit. So again, that's fine. Just came out of left field and left me being like, oh, okay, this is the movie now. All right. And but then we're still trying to tell the he's a drawer story, and that could potentially save the circus he's a part of and this owner that he loves. And now all of a sudden he hates, which is like, oh, okay. Like I said, no effort and no work went into characterization to a flowing, like, legitimate story. I do appreciate too the fact that the film and even the book seems to mention this. The antagonist isn't really Mac, which is Bryan Cranston's character, who is his caretaker his entire life. He's not necessarily the antagonist. He's just more or less the antagonist of the film is just more or less his circumstances. The film didn't really mention this, but in real life, Ivan was saved from poachers by a young family. They kept him in his house when they got to the point where you can't keep a gorilla in your house, so they found a place at the mall, and he was an attraction at the mall for a little bit, and that's why he was there for all those years. That's not a good environment for a gorilla to just be trapped in a cage. Protests happened, and he was able to get moved to a zoo, which was a much better environment and a much more fulfilling environment for him as a silverback gorilla. So he was able to develop and grow and be happy. The story mentions, though, it doesn't really take time to make him seem like the bad guy who captured him and kept him in his cage. It actually takes time to show that he loves this gorilla. He really cares for this gorilla. And perhaps over the years, his motivation to, make money through the circus and to have a business perhaps kind of clouded his vision of the fact that he loves animals. He's loved and wanted to take care of these animals. That kind of distracted him from the fact that maybe this isn't what's best for those he loves. But again, those moments are completely glossed over, and I would have loved to have seen a lot more characterization from Mac. He's more or less the comic relief sometimes, or the attempted comic relief, I should say. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh, okay, you should get out of here. Okay, dang, I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna miss you. And then that's that. And again, Ivan, who genuinely seemed to love the guy at the beginning, or who's really appreciative of him, was all of a sudden like, thanks for nothing, dick. I just, seriously. The lack of characterization that went into this film was just really unsettling, and so many missed opportunities, and it made it just feel so bland to me that I did not like this film. Again, the amount of care that went into this was surprisingly sad. And honestly, for a film with this good of a message, I really wish more care had gone into this film. My score of the film, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow!
It's not unwatchable. I mean, go ahead and watch it, but you're going to forget about it. And I will say the third act of the film is probably where things kind of picked up a little bit more-ish. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more movie reviews coming soon. I'm going to keep them coming on the channel. We got a busy little bit for the movies. Gosh, movies are going to be crazy this next little bit. I'm going to try to do the best I can. We got Tenet coming out. We got the new Mulan coming out. We have just all these movies coming out this next little bit. I'm going to try and do Bill and Ted reviews because of the upcoming Bill and Ted film. Charlie Kaufman has a new movie coming out on Netflix, and I wanted to go back and review some of his old films to just kind of get ready for that because I'm excited. I also wanted to do the same thing with Christopher Nolan films because of Tenet next week. So I got busy, crazy. I'm going to try and cram as much as I can in this next little bit. Literally, My computer works now for the editing software that I have. It's much better, and I'm going to use it to its full just as much as I can. Yeah, let's do it. It's going to be fun. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on it. There's going to be a lot of fun videos coming out in this next little bit. My wife and I have been filming a few videos together, so stay tuned for that, and you get to see all the fun we have together as a couple. Please go ahead and like this video while you're here. It does nothing but support the channel, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Bye-bye.